This song makes you feel like you're high, and the way that Mac Demarco does it is surprisingly simple. This kind of music theory breakdown is what I do here, so hit subscribe if you want more. So the effect that Mac Demarco uses to make us feel high is called vibrato, and he probably uses a guitar vibrato pedal, which is what this is. So what the vibrato effect does is that it oscillates the wavelength of what you're applying it to. So this can be from vocals to guitars to synths, anything you want. And Mac Demarco here uses it on his guitars and synths. Now the second option is the speed element. And as you increase this, you increase the speed of the wibbly wobbliness. And the next control is the depth control, which increases how big your wibbly wobbly goes. The final one is what shape do you want your wibbly to wobble. And on this particular pedal, you have a triangle shape as well as a square shape. And if you blend the two together, you get a sine wave, which looks something like that. But there's another technique in this song that makes us feel a little crazy, and that is the use of diminished chords. The first chord we're playing is a B minor add 11 over D. Now that sounds terrifying to anyone, but it's actually quite simple. Now this is our regular B diminished chord. There's 3 notes, so it's not too scary. Now because this song is played on guitar, and guitars have lots of strings, you can do some very cool voicings with this chord. For example, you can add this D note in the lowest position to get B diminished over D, which is part way of creating our chord. But what Mac Demarco does is that he also adds an E, because if we start from our root note of this chord, which is a B, going all the way up to this E over here, that is a 13th interval away, which is why it's called add 13, because you're just adding the 13th interval to this stupid chord. So we're almost there with recreating our first chord. But let's put the B from down here all the way up here, so we have the D in the bass. And there you go, that's your B diminished add 11 over D. It's just that, it's not too scary. And then the next chord after that is B diminished, but the only note we're changing is the E, because that goes to D, because that's the melody. And the next chord he chooses to play is this D major 11, which again is a D major triad, but you add the major 11th interval. Yum. So far, this chord progression sounds like this. But then the next chord that he plays is again a diminished chord, G sharp chord, but there's a bit more sauce to it, because what he's doing here is that he's taking these 2 notes, whacking them down there. So you still have that G sharp diminished chord, but instead you're playing in the add 11, and he copy and pastes what he does earlier, because we go to this G sharp diminished add 11 over B, and then it goes to G sharp diminished, so that's the normal diminished chord, over B, and then it goes to A, which is awesome. And with the power of movie magic, we can add a vibrato effect to this piano part to make it sound like this. We'll be using these diminished chord techniques later on in the video when we write a song. So let's go to the whiteboard to see these chord progressions written down. Just as a side note, if you do hear my cat meowing, he has been fed, but he's hungry for social media attention. So let's start with our first chord, which is B diminished add 11 over D. And in the key of F sharp minor, that's going to be our diminished 4 chord, which is very strange because our 4 chord normally is minor, not diminished. And then as you know, it goes to a normal B diminished over D, and that goes to our D major 7 chord, which is our major 6 chord. That's expected. That's nice. And then it goes all wrong because we go to G sharp diminished add 11 over B. But this chord luckily is in the key of F sharp minor, because that's our diminished 2 chord. That's great, that's so great. And then the last 3 chords in this section are G diminished, which then goes to A, which is our 3 chord, and then that goes wow to F sharp minor, the 1 chord. And that's it. So let's go write a song now using diminished chords and Mac Demarco source. So let's write a song in the key of E minor and use the chords F sharp diminished, D, G major 7, G, D sharp diminished, and E. And we can incorporate a little melody into our chord changes, because we can have this F sharp diminished chord with the C, we can have this D chord, but obviously inverted, so this D, we just whack it up here, so it goes from F sharp diminished to then D, and then we can have our G major 7 chord, but again, that's inverted, because if we look at a G major 7 chord in its normal form, we can take the G and the B, whack them over here, wow, inversion. So this is what it sounds like all together. If you like this kind of breakdown and want to support this channel, I post bonus behind the scenes videos and there's custom emotes and tier badges and just so much fun over there. So just click the button if you'd like to join. And if you like this video, then you might like this Matt Maltese video here, where we go more into detail about chords, particularly the chords in that song.